My name is Todd and I'm the founder of Ashaya Yoga. Welcome to Asana Spotlight. Please share this experience with your friends and turn people on to a new form of yoga where they feel free and open and deeply accepted for who they are. Today's posture is a challenging pose. It's a standing one-leg balancing pose called Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. It is a mouthful. So let's break it down. Utthita means extended, and hasta means hand, pada means foot, angushta is big toe. So it's translated as the extended hand to big toe posture. And it is an awesome stretch for hips, hamstrings, and finding your balance. Very difficult to do, which is why we're going to do some warm-up poses, and I'm going to show a lot of modifications. One of the key components mentally for this pose is to stay calm and how to really be in the present moment without any preconceptions. It's not an easy thing because we are beings that span through all three times, past, present, and future. It's hard to separate them out. And in fact, in the Tantra, we don't want to separate them out. There's as much emphasis on being there then than being here now. Being here now in the present isn't the ultimate thing according to the Tantra, because we are beings in the present moment that we stand on the shoulders of the past. We need to acknowledge that. And then we use our present moment in order to intend and create a future worth living into. So in that sense, you could say, well, let's just be in the here and now, present with all three times, past, present, and future, to value and honor them. So how to be in this pose without saying, like, once we get into it, oh, I could have done this pose 20 years ago if I was healthier. So there's a little bit of regret in there because we do get older and sometimes tighter and weaker. That is normal and natural as we get older. But of course, if you have a regular yoga practice, you can maintain a pretty even level of fitness throughout your entire life. That's my view, and that's what I'm doing, hopefully. But still, like, you know, it's not like I'm in my 20s again. So we have to acknowledge that. So trying to be younger than we are, like grasping hold of that, you know, when we were in our 20s, is a distraction from the present moment. In addition, you could say, oh my God, I didn't do so well with this pose, so I'm going to work really hard every single day off into the future until I can accomplish this. That may not be a bad sentiment, and that's great, very dedicated to it. But again, it pulls us out of the present moment. So the present moment is really described as a place where you're safe and also where you are accepted. And I had this really strange dream last night, and I woke up and I had such insight. So I dreamt back when I was in jazz school. I did my undergrad in studio music and jazz. I'm a keyboardist, piano player. And I remember I had this one teacher who was so intimidating. He was just totally focused on himself and also on performance. So if I didn't do well on a certain song, he would just sort of rail into me. And it wasn't so much his words as his expression. Anyway, at that, you know, transitional time in my life where most people, like in their undergraduate years, are just trying to find themselves, I never once felt accepted. So I was always striving to, like, you know, do better and impress him, where really what I needed and wanted in my heart was to be accepted for who I am, to be valued for the gifts and the talents that I could bring. But that's not really how, at that time, music school was set up. And a lot of the performance majors, it's cutthroat competition. I mean, that's what it is. And you got to be the very best, not just that you can be, but better than everybody else in order to get a job afterwards, so we're not in the starving artist genre of people. So I worked very, very hard, but all the time there was a subtle self-rejection. I wasn't present. And then I realized, oh, you're every character of your dream. So it wasn't so much that that teacher did this to me, that's very victim-like, but it was that he represented that part of me that failed to accept myself and really pushed me. And it's like perfectionist. I think there's a perfectionist inside of most people, actually. I say I'm a recovering perfectionist, but this idea that we want to, you know, enjoy the process and the journey of becoming who we're meant to be, rather than pushing ourselves through the journey, creating strain and really creating harm to ourselves in order to achieve some goal. So yes, the goal is good, but at what expense is really my question. And that's been something that I've been focused on for a very long time, is how to just simply be in the present moment with deep self-acceptance, to value who I am now and all the sort of the tensions and peculiarities of my body. So this is a pose that is really challenging for me, probably because I've had years of sports and lots of running in my earlier years, and now it's a lot of exercise and biking. Anyway, my body is just particularly tight in these areas, and maybe you'll find that yours is too. So I'm just saying that part of what's going to help us be successful in this pose is to accept ourselves no matter which stage of the posture you can do. And so I want to offer that to you. All right, let's get started. Come to a standing position at the top of your mat. So I really think the deeper part of the practice is to come home to our heart. Self-acceptance does open your heart. It does bring us back to the heart, where we discover we're already whole and complete. We don't need to hide our flaws and our imperfections, and we don't need to skip over them and reach for something greater than what we are. That puts a lot of pressure on us. So we come back to our heart with deep self-acceptance to do the very best you can, but listen to your body and don't go beyond the boundary that your body is telling you. Now, one of the things that I'm going to show you today is that alignment really, really helps. So I'm going to show you some techniques today that will actually free up your hamstrings and help your balance as well. We've got to get this body warmed up. So come to a standing position in front of your mat. Stand in Tadasana, feet parallel, hip distance. Bring your palms together with self-acceptance in front of your heart, and just take some breaths. Say to yourself and recognize that you are already whole and complete just as you are. You are a one of a kind, and that's really true. There is no one like you, nor has there anyone been exactly like you previously since the beginning of creation, and nor will there ever be anyone else like you. You are a complete masterpiece in this universe. So we hug in. Then thigh bones back, keeping them back. Pull your tailbone in. Inhale, stretch your arms up with deep self-acceptance. You can even reach higher. Exhale, fold. Self-acceptance means that you accept that you are perfectly imperfect just as you are. Flaws and all perfect. Inhale, heart halfway forward. Exhale, bow. Pull your heels isometrically backwards. Let's get the calves, the hamstrings to stretch. Inner thighs go back, tailbone is in. Lift your armpits, and then imagine that you could take a little dive right between the shoulder blades and melt the upper back. Deepen your breath. Inhale, heart forward. Step it back to downward dog pose. And if this is your first dog of the day, then enjoy it. Breathe into it. Alternately press your heels, bend the opposite knee. In the first few poses, we kind of assess tension level in the body. Bend your knees, turn your thighs in, generate a low back curve. So you got to lift the sitting bones way up and then broaden them. Then a light scoop of the tail. From your heart, push through your hands, and from your heart, take the base of your shins back. So it's kind of perfectionistic to say, oh yeah, bring your heels to the floor. Yeah, only the ones who have super flexible hamstrings and open ankle joints can do that. So I think it's much better to say, for us stiffer people, take the base of your shins back. We don't care if your heels go down to the floor. That's not the point.
The point is keep a low back curve. Pull back isometrically, get your hamstrings to stretch. And then beyond that, do the best you can. That's always enough. And breathe. Exhale, right leg forward, lunge. Bring your right hand up onto your right thigh and twist. Good. Reach your belly out of the pelvis and the chest out of the belly. Shoulders back. Take a big breath. Exhale, release, come up, hands to hips. Here we go with some balance. So squeeze your legs into the middle, stretch your arms up. Let your breath carry the energy of self-acceptance, because truly life and grace is already accepting you. You know, like, let's just get in alignment with the universe. And there's no excess pressure on us except what we put on ourselves. So take the pressure off, focus on the present moment, focus on your breath. The stretch from your pelvis, just push your left heel back, right shin forward, stretch it up a little more, arch back a tiny bit more. Oh yeah, and enjoy the pose. Radical. I forgot to enjoy this. Exhale, release your arms down and step back, downward dog. Every breath, do the best you can. If it's too much, you can rest at any time. Exhale, left foot forward. Bring your left hand to your left leg. Lean onto your right hand and twist. Take your thighs back, tail in. With acceptance, try to reach your heart a little bit higher. Acceptance doesn't mean complacency, so we're not giving up. Acceptance, there is kind of a tenacity to not push, but to be totally in the present moment. We do not give up the goal. It's just, we're not tunnel vision on the goal. We recognize there are steps to get to the goal, and there's a journey to be had. Let's enjoy the journey. On our way. Breathe. Exhale, release, squeeze your legs. So you scissor the legs in for more balance, hands to hips. Inhale, arms up. Every breath filled with self-acceptance, which really is the gateway to the heart. We could say you have to accept yourself before you can love yourself. And in a certain way, self-love includes acceptance, or we could say it's the same as acceptance. Yep. You accept every part of yourself, even the parts you don't like, even the parts that you wish you had 20 years ago. Okay? Don't go into the past so much. Stay present. From your pelvis now, right heel back and push out through the left shin. Go for it. Stretch, arch back more. Pull your tailbone in more. Big breath, and then exhale. Release, come into plank, thighs back, tailbone in. Go to chaturanga. Knees can go on the floor as you wish, but hold. Test out your self-acceptance. Come on, hold. Thighs back, tail in. And exhale down. Inhale, come up into cobra pose. Yep, shoulders back, melt the heart forward. Exhale, downward dog pose. Inhale, left leg up high. Inhale your right leg up high. Right leg. And then exhale, lunge. Square your left foot to the back edge of your mat. One thing I love about teaching yoga, it gives me the opportunity to accept myself over and over again, joyously. So bring your right hand to the inside of the right foot, left hand to the hip. Make sure your back foot is squared. We're going to do this as a hip opener. So take your thighs back, stick your butt back, hug your legs, maintain acceptance. Acceptance is integrative. It brings cohesion. All the muscles engage around the bones. It heats up the muscles. Then align, take your thighs back. And this is going to free up your low back. gives you a curve, and then pull your tailbone in. Pull the right hip back and down more, and then twist. Stretch your left arm first straight up overhead, pull your armpit back more, and then left arm over the ear. Bend your right knee more. I want you to go deeper into it. Why? Because we're going to need it for the stretch we're about to do. Very good. Exhale. Go back into downward dog pose and breathe. Now, left leg up. And exhale, lunge. Square the right foot. Walk your hands over to the right, to the inside. Hug your legs. And then here goes thighs back. You can see it from the back here. Then, keeping your thighs back, pull your tail in. Come right up along the inside of the left foot and left knee. Hug your knee to your arm, right hand to your hip. Stretch your right arm up. Good. Thighs back again, tailbone in more. And then right arm over the ear. And where do you look? Well, a couple of different directions. You can look down. You can look straight out to the side underneath your tricep muscle. Yeah. And then ultimately, if you tip your head back, you can look out over your right hand, right thumb. And a few details, just turn so that your thumb points up. That will give you better integration of the shoulder. Exhale, release, come back to plank and Chaturanga Dandasana pose. Exhale down, inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. And then bring your left leg forward. Then, I said left again. Go back to downward dog. Bring your right leg forward and scissor your leg. So right leg is straight. Yep. Step back, downward dog, and left leg forward and then straight, and pull isometrically backwards to get even a better and deeper hamstring stretch. Good. Exhale, step forward, root your feet, and inhale, come up. Exhale, release, arms down. Okay, we're going to go to an easier version of Padangusthasana called Supta Padangusthasana, and for this you'll need a belt. So come lie on your back. Put the belt around your right foot. First start with your left knee bent. Pull evenly on the belt. And move your thigh back. Create a low back curve. So instead of the low back imprinted to the floor, I want you to lift the low back and try to put a little pressure on the base of the sacrum area. Okay, keeping your low back curve, stretch your left leg out. Root the left thigh all the way down to the floor and pull on the belt. So this is the kind of stretch we're going to get while we balance on one leg. So just imagine you were standing on the left leg here. Hold the belt both ends with the right hand and bring the leg slowly off to the side and left arm straight out to the left. Yeah. And breathe. So essentially, this is the pose we're going to do. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, but we're lying down. And of course, balance is not a factor here, and you've got the floor for tremendous support. So go for the stretch, go for the hamstring stretch, pull on the belt more. And then inhale, bring your leg back up, and then just for fun, hold the belt with your left hand, cross just a couple inches past midline here. Pull on the belt, push your right thigh back, and that should fire up the IT band on this outside of your thigh and shin, and breathe. That's usually pretty stiff. Are you feeling it? I am. Okay, and exhale, release, switch sides. Good, release your head to the earth, release your body. The earth just automatically is. Earth is in the present. It automatically accepts whoever you are, whatever you are. So relax into that, pull down on the belt and press your left thigh away until you get a low back curve. And then stretch your right leg out, right thigh all the way down to the floor. Low back is off the floor. You'll see when we balance on one leg, it's very difficult to get the thighs back. But here, you kind of feel it. So the right thigh to the floor. Keeping that pull on the belt. Good. Hold both ends of the belt with your left hand and left leg out to the left side, just as far as you can go. Infuse every breath with abundant self-acceptance. Don't be greedy. Be absolutely generous with acceptance. Can you accept the tension in your leg? And some of you, I'm sure, are going way further than me. One of the pitfalls of the practice is to compare yourself to other people. And that was really the majority of music school, was we were in constant comparison. And that produces competition and resulting shame. So don't compare. Stay in the present moment. There's no comparison in the present moment. You just are. And you're enough. And besides, yoga says that life is beautifully irresolvable. So what are we trying to solve here? Okay. Hold the belt with the right hand and just cross midline by a few inches. You will feel the zinger. Breathe. You can feel almost like an electrical pain. If it hurts, it should hurt good. And breathe. A big part of yoga is how to bring comfort to your discomfort. That's like a yogic power. It's called a siddhi. And a lot of that is first through acceptance. And just telling yourself, it's okay. It's a very kind thing to say. It's okay. I'll get through this. And release. All right, ready to do some Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana? I hope so. Ready or not, stand. Pull your mat closer to the wall. Or if you have a door, or you could even use a chair here, but I want you to have something that you can hold on to. And I'm going to show it with the belt in a moment. But you want to stand away from the wall so you can have one hand at the wall. It doesn't matter if your arm is totally straight. I want you to feel like you've got the support there. Balance. I'm just going to do it this way. So you're going to balance on your right foot. Bend the left knee up this way and just hold the knee. Okay. This first stage of the pose is, I'm going to show you this way. Typically when you do this, watch the straight leg. It's this. This is thigh forward. What I want you to do is this. Okay? So, here we go. Lift your left knee, take your thighs back, and especially the top of the right thigh goes back. Then, keeping that, pull your tailbone in, and look, that's going to kind of straighten up the hip. And hold. And keeping your knee bent, spread your toes, pull up from your feet to the pelvis, and see if you can open your knee out to the side a bit. I have to adjust my distance from the wall here. And you can test it out. Maybe you don't need the wall. And typically when the knee goes up, the hip goes up. I'd like you to try to lift the knee and take your hip down. So the outer left hip crease goes back and down like this. And I'm telling you, this is This is like the whole thing right here. This is the stretch. Pull your tailbone in, pull your belly in and up. You like really feel your core. And then for balance, to help keep you in the present moment, it's supportive to focus your gaze. That's the drishti on a point down on some unmoving point on the floor, about 6 to 8 feet out in front of you. And you just concentrate. Okay, hug to the middle. Hug your muscles into your bones. Acceptance is, it warms the muscles, warms the heart. Bring your leg back to center and release. Now you can kind of feel the stretch going on there in the hip. Let's switch sides. I'll have to turn my back and balance on the left leg. Bend your right knee up. Just hold the knee. And then let's get the thighs back. So stick your butt back, top of the left thigh back, tailbone in. Again, thigh back, tailbone in. And then open the left knee out to the side. And we're just going to go however far it goes. And then try to take the top of the left hip. Top of the right hip back and down. So you are standing on your left leg. Sorry, I'm having some right-left polarity issues today. So you're balanced on your left leg. Top of the left thigh goes back, tail in. Right knee out to the side. And take the top of the right hip back and down. There you go. Inhale back to center. And release. So that's really like step one. But the pose is hand to big toe. So we could hold the big toe, but I'm going to give you sort of a little break here. So switch sides, stand on your right leg, put the belt around your left foot. And then hug muscles, thighs back, tailbone in. That's our formula. And then keep your knee bent and try to bring your shin parallel to the floor. Yeah, that's not so easy. That's the first step. And then the second step is keeping the knee bent, bring your foot towards the middle of the room. And then ultimately, you can give yourself lots of slack. Once your leg is out to the side, you can stretch your left leg straight. So it's out to the side here. Instead of pushing it way up, we're going to try to pull the outer left hip crease back and down. There it is. So this is the pose. Now, I also like doing it, this when I'm warmed up, holding the little toe edge of the foot. So you see how my wrist crosses the top of the foot. It crosses the ankle. And I grab onto the little toe edge of the foot. And then I keep my knee bent. And then bring the leg out to the side this way. And then try to stretch the leg straighter. I have to hike my hip up to do that. And then I work toward taking the top of the left hip back and down. It's just, my hips just really love to resist this pose. But not so bad. Okay, exhale. Release. I won't show it here, but after we're done here, you can try and do the whole thing away from the wall. Okay, so let's go to the second side. Again, I gotta turn my back. Balance on your left leg, bend your right knee up, belt around the foot. First step is hug muscles, then thigh bones back, tail in. Keep your knee bent and bring your right shin parallel to the floor. Okay. And then see if you can turn the right shin so your foot goes toward the middle of the room, but keep your knee bent. Thighs back, tailbone in, and then ultimately you can stretch your legs straight. You could try the hold on the little toe edge of your foot this way. And what I like about this, we didn't do it, but you can do a supine half happy baby pose this way, and it's really the same stretch. Thighs back, tailbone in, and then as you can, Stretch your right leg straighter. There's the pose right there. Lots of heat. When you're doing this well, your body will just heat up. Feels good. Bend the knee and release. Okay. Come back to the middle of your space. And let's just take a bow. Come into Uttanasana. Not that that was a performance, but bow with self-acceptance to your own self, to your own heart, and then give yourself credit, not for what you couldn't do. Give yourself credit for what you could do. It's really all I ever wanted from my teachers, is really to be loved and accepted. And I realize now that's my job. Nobody's responsible for that except me. And that's very empowering. And so pour it on. Give yourself lots of acceptance. And you get the benefit of the pose. Exhale, bend your knees into a squat. And come lie down on your back. We'll take 1 minute in Shavasana. Just stretch your legs out. Palms up by your sides. Let go now. Release all effort. Release all strain. And take this time to receive the benefits of the pose. Whether or not you're able to get your legs straight or your standing leg thigh back, doesn't matter. You made the effort and you did the best you could. Now receive. And know that you are absolutely loved and accepted for who you are, not what you do. Let yourself bathe in the light of acceptance and give yourself the incredible gift of space to really value and honor who you are. Every breath through and through, deep self-acceptance. And then very gradually return, take a big breath. As you exhale, roll to the right. Come on up to sitting. And let's sit for a moment, eyes closed. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. We offer thanks for this time to practice and to take steps toward opening our body to achieve a more difficult pose. But even more than the achievement is to enjoy the journey and enjoy the process, to open muscles that have perhaps been locked for some time. And to do all this within the field of self-acceptance, where you are perfectly perfect, just as you are. Tantra is the practice where we weave ourselves back together, all parts, where we weave back together shadow and light to be able to embrace the full spectrum of who we are. So that instead of just trying to survive life, we thrive in life. With deep self-acceptance now, let's offer thanks, take a breath and chant Om. Namaste. Thank you.
Thanks for practicing yoga with me. Have a great day.